All right, fam, let's talk about a couple ways to talk price. Golden rule, you never quote the price to an unsold buyer, but the statistics show that most people want to talk price on the first call. So how do we do that? Well, we talk about the customers or the prospect's price threshold. And the key to this is understanding that it has nothing to do with us. It has everything to do with how they want to make a decision. So we want to have that conversation. So when you're really talking about price, there's kind of like three buckets. I mean, depending on what you sell or what you do, there could be a couple variations to this. But bucket one is when we talk about price and service, if you want a low price and low service, that's bucket one. Me personally, if that's how the buyer wants to buy, I'm not your person. I kind of tell them that. First meeting, that's it. I don't need to prove anything. Bucket two is I'll pay more for better service, right? By the way, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, right? This is where I play. Cool. But there's a lot of buyers out there for a lot of reasons that they want a low price and high service. And this is where our brains start going crazy. We go, well, we can't do this. Or let me prove to you why it's our product you should be paying more for this. There's actually a much simpler way to have this conversation, right? And we've talked about this a lot. It's actually solving the problem. How would you, and this is the key, you need to use whoever you're talking to's business model to prove this point. And you ask them, how would you achieve a lower price and higher service in your business? How would you do that? And they say, well, eventually it's got to come out of certain areas, or we need longer term commitment. So for me, if you want me to drive my price down, but keep my service up, one of the ways I solve that is long-term contracts. We have to work together for a long time. We call that volume, right? So one way to solve the problem is high volume, right? Okay, if you can promise me high volume where I don't have to sink a lot of marketing dollars in for 3 years, I can guarantee a certain amount of money, okay, cool. And for a lot of you that work with manufacturers, maybe you could take the commitment of high volume over to a manufacturer and work down a deal there. So that's one way. But most of the time, what they're gonna say is, well, I want the best of both worlds, and that's never possible. So let's just say I'm talking to a car dealership. I would say, look, if I walk to your car dealership and I want the lowest price but the best service and the best quality product, that's like me asking for the Cadillac, right? The new 2021 Cadillac, hybrid, I want 20s, I want the new V10, whatever the case is, convertible, and oh, by the way, I want free oil changes for life. I want to be first in line. You better have a damn martini for me whenever I get there. I want all that, but I want it for the price of the Kia. It ain't gonna fly, is it? And this is the conversation I'm having. I say, no, of course. Eventually you gotta start pulling things away, whether I know it or not, right? So you use their business model to prove your point. If they're stuck on this, I'm like, look, I'm not your guy. If they're stuck here, say, how do we solve the problem? Maybe it's more volume. If they're still stuck in, hey, I want the lowest price and the best service because I'm getting it promised somewhere else, you say, bullshit, it can never happen because it's like asking a Cadillac for Kia money and you know it ain't gonna happen. So there you go, ways to talk price without actually talking the price on the first appointment.